Hang with me on this one because I'm going to try to lose you. His second son, Joseph named Ephraim, and said, "It is because God has made me fruitful in the land of my suffering." When Israel saw the sons of Joseph, he asked, "Who are these?" "They are the sons God has given me here," Joseph said to his father. Then Israel said, "Bring them to me so I may bless them." And Joseph took both of them, Ephraim on his right toward Israel's left hand, and Manasseh on his left toward Israel's right hand, and brought them close to him. But Israel reached out his right hand and put it on Ephraim's head, though he was the younger, and crossing his arms he put his left hand on Manasseh's head, even though Manasseh was the firstborn. When Joseph saw his father placing his right hand on Ephraim's head, he was displeased, so he took hold of his father's hand to move it from Ephraim's head to Manasseh's head. Joseph said to him, "No, my father, this one is the firstborn. Put your right hand on his head." But his father refused and said, "I know, my son, I know. He too will become a people, and he too will become great. Nevertheless, his younger brother will be greater than he, and his descendants will become a group of nations." He blessed them that day and said, "In your name will Israel pronounce this blessing. May God make you like Ephraim and Manasseh." So he put Ephraim ahead of Manasseh. Most of that was from Genesis 48, which comes after Genesis 47. You could read Genesis 48 before reading Genesis 47, but that's out of order, and you might get confused because the details don't line up that way. That's how linear stories work. That's how order works. In order, no confusion. Out of order, confusion. And this devotion about Ephraim is the last of the 14 devotions I'm going to write about the 14 forefathers of the 12 tribes of Israel. Joseph's 2 kids are included with him and his 11 brothers. Sometimes they replace him and his brother Levi, sometimes they don't. Either way, it's a little hard to keep the order straight. And then Israel himself, whom you may also know as Jacob, switches the order for Ephraim and his brother Manasseh, putting Ephraim before Manasseh and blessing Joseph by blessing his 2 sons, but in the wrong order. So Joseph is confused. Probably Ephraim and Manasseh were too. Add to that Ephraim gave his name to a tribe, and that tribe sometimes gave their name to the whole nation of tribes descended from Ephraim's uncles, while his brother Manasseh and his tribe gradually fade into obscurity, fulfilling what Israel/Jacob said about them, or maybe because of what Jacob/Israel said about them, correlation or causation or prophecy, right? Who knows? Not me. I seem to have lost control, lost order, I'm confused. But everything should be done in a fitting and orderly way, because God is not a God of disorder but of peace. And yet, in the glory of heaven, we will see that the old order of things has passed away. And what is birth order, if not that, the old order? An order that matters at a time when time is divided and evaluated in terms of birth and death, that we mark the day a person is born and the order in which siblings are born and think that that means something about the order in which they should be blessed when it comes to blessings that pertain to this order of things that will one day be old and pass away and not matter. What's my point? In order to say what exactly did I write this? I don't know, man. Just, can we do it? Can we see the order in which we find ourselves and which makes sense to us? Can we look at this order and know that one day it will be old and pass away, and so know that it just doesn't matter as much as we think it does? I mean, not in the way that we think it does. Not in the order that we see, but according to the order we don't see, the new one that the God not of disorder but of peace sees and imposes upon his creation, disordered by human sin, and yet he never lost control. In the last book of the Bible, in the 12 tribes that make up the 144,000, that is the billions of people who will be in heaven, God includes Manasseh, but not Ephraim. And both Joseph and Levi are in. Dan gets left out. Benjamin was third to last of the 14, and he's the last in the 12. Judah was fourth of the original 12, and he's put first. It's all out of order. The God, not of disorder but of peace, uses disorder in an orderly way. He often blesses the firstborn, and sometimes he blesses the second, or always he blesses both. He puts the last first, and the first last. He damns his own firstborn son, and thereby calls sinners saints. And it's confusing to us because we're stuck in this old order that is passing away so that he can bring us back to a new order that is older than this one of birth and death because of sin. God's bringing us back to the peace of eternal life by the cross of Jesus that he stabbed right into the middle of time, so that we're waiting for what we already have, and the forgiveness that is already ours is coming for us someday. It's all out of order, out of ours anyway, and thank God for that. Thank God for making us fruitful in the land of our suffering, which too will have passed away to make way for even more blessings. How'd I do? You and I are dust and breath, loved by God, bought by Jesus. This podcast is written and produced by me, Ethan Cherney, a Wells pastor serving Bethel Lutheran Church of Menasha, Wisconsin. Get in touch on Facebook at Dust and Breath Pod, on Twitter at Dust Breath Pod, or by emailing dustandbreathpod@gmail.com. Outro music arranged and performed by Mr. Peter Shawy, who is like honey for you. If you find it, there is a future hope for you, and your hope will not be cut off. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you could leave a review in iTunes or just share an episode on social media, I'd really appreciate it. It's the only way other people can find the show. Now, go do what God made you to do. Be who God called you to be. Go see what God can do with dust and breath and faith in Jesus, his Son.